So, Coach, how'd your morning go?
It was good, We're waiting to see if we got the text whether school was delayed or it wasn't, so a normal morning in our house.
Speaking of other texts and emails you get, you've talked about kind of waiting on the test results. When you have a string of good news, does it feel like the weight comes off, or are you still kind of anxious every day?
Yeah, not as anxious, Justin. It's certainly kind of expectation, hopefully, now that it continues the direction it's gone. So nothing new as of right now.
Word that another home game has been moved. How frustrating is it? And I think now 7 of 8. If you go back to SMU, we're going to be played on the road.
Yeah. So we make no excuses. Go what the schedule gives us. We'll be the Warriors that we're supposed to be, and it just shows you how very little everybody thinks that head coaches are control freaks. Obviously we're not. So 7 out of 8 on the road, and we'll do what they tell us to do.
Memphis is always really difficult in their building. When you look at going in there, how do you handle? They're like getting on runs and kind of burying teams in their building. How do you handle their athleticism and what they bring at home?
That's the hardest part, Chad, is that you just can't replicate their length and athleticism. You just in practice. I mean, I love Sam Martin to death. I thought he played really well the other night, but his length and athleticism doesn't quite prepare us for Memphis. It's just you can't replicate the way they're pressing a lot this year. I think they're playing as good as anybody in the country. They're an elite defensive team. They're top 5 defensively. They play extremely hard. They know where to be. They're well coached, and a lot of 5-star players out there. So, I mean, that's probably the hardest part is just to replicate what they do in practice. Because it's not as much of a surprise in the games. That's very difficult to do.
This obviously wouldn't be specific to Memphis, and they lose a player of the year in the conference and have turnover, but does playing them last year and having a lot of the same players back, same coach, does that give you any kind of like institutional knowledge or comfort of going against them at all?
I think it generally would. The longer you're in the league, the more you understand tendencies and things. But, they're playing a little differently. They're pressing more. They're pressuring more full court. They're trapping a lot more. Right now I want to figure out how to get the ball across half court because, we turn it over a lot. So, Chad mentioned it, they play really well at home, but at least they won't have a crowd there. Nobody will get hurt because, they can really turn you over. And the way we throw the ball around, we could be hitting those, what are the things in the crowd? The cutouts. So I don't think we'll injure any of the cutouts.
Keith has obviously been here a while. Keith Williams, off the court, just what's he been like this season compared to last year as a leader and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't see our guys off the court anymore. So to know how he is it sounds like I'm invading you, but it's not. We don't spend any time with our guys off the court anymore. So, I see him around the locker room a little bit. And, but once you got to understand, when practice ends, we spray down the gym. So it's like we really don't see our guys much. So I think based on the road trips, which we had a lot of those, so that's been good. He's a great teammate. I think he's not necessarily a team leader. I think you have team leaders and great teammates, and he's not. I wouldn't call him a leader, but I would call him a tremendous teammate. And he's fun. I mean, he's great to be around. He's got a great way about him, and he's really competitive.
You mentioned after the Temple game that it was kind of a different approach. You talked about beating Temple as opposed to process. Did the way the team kind of responded and some of the toughness you saw, did that change the way maybe you'll approach future games? Maybe similar minds?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. We have. I mean, we certainly have. We've been a little bit more on the. Obviously we're playing more half court defense than full court. There's things that we're doing that I think have captivated our guys a little bit, and a little bit more of a team that understands what they need to do and those things. So I think there's some nuances that go into that, and that a coach starts to realize as he understands his team, and the team starts to realize as we all understand each other.
When something's taken away from you, you tend to have a greater appreciation for it and of it. is that 25-day stretch, when they couldn't get on the court and they couldn't have basketball, do you think that is that why they were so tough and showed that physicality these last 2 games?
Well, you certainly want to take the good out of anything, right? So anything you go through, you want to find out when you look back on it, okay, what can we extract that was positive? And I did feel that certainly in like the shoot around going into Temple. I felt it during the game in terms of their excitement level to play, which sometimes can be dead in this time of year. So I think there was a resurgence of that and a joy in playing that I hadn't seen in a little while because we hadn't played in so long. So in retrospect, I think certainly that took place. That toughness and stuff was always there. It was just internalized in terms of I think we were a team that wanted to win on our terms, each individual terms. Like, okay, we want to play well, but I need to do this to make myself feel good versus, okay, we play well because a team collectively we do things. And we need to do it on our terms, not individual terms. And I think that showed up more, Keith, than necessarily we played because we hadn't played in a while, and that's why we're tougher. I think no, we had that toughness, but we were doing it in terms, okay, did it work for what I want to do versus for what the team wants to do.
Zach was playing really well before the layoff, and then obviously he's had to sit out these past couple of games. Is there anything he can do individually, or the team and the staff can do to kind of keep him in mindset, even if he can't actually play basketball?
Well, that's the one thing about Zach. He's got a unbelievable confidence level in his ability to get back quickly, and it's new for me because my personality is that you got to grind it out every day to get back to what you need to be because you're not as talented. But he looks at things a little differently. That he is so talented that he can get back quickly. So for Zach right now, I think that mindset may help him. I hope.
You said Keith isn't necessarily a great leader, a great teammate, which is also a very good thing. Is David that leader that you lean on to beat you out there?
Yeah, I think when you talk about leaders, you talk about, guys say they lead by example. We don't buy into that. You got to verbalize your leadership, and I think, David's just comfortable in that, and Keith does it in his own way. So I don't want to say that he's not a great team leader, but he's an elite teammate. Now you can't be a team leader without being a great teammate. Understand that. You can be a great teammate and not a great leader. That's fine, but you can't lead without being a great teammate first, and those guys are both that for sure.
Obviously, Mike Saunders got 2 starts this past week. I'm curious, where is he at as a player?
He's progressing. He wants to do the right things. Certainly his minutes, he's around 12 to 15 minutes even before probably the starts. Elite defender, physical, everything I want. It's just he's at the position that's the hardest to learn, right? I mean, they say that about quarterbacks, right? So he's in the position that's the hardest to really grasp at this level. And what happens is guys, when they get to this level, it's just more of a challenge. And he stepped up to that challenge. He's been everything I want in practice. He's been consistent. Another great teammate. We love coaching him. And he's going to be really good. And he has taken steps forward. He's just got to continue those. And the tough part about it, we're asking Mike to take steps forward in an environment where you don't practice a lot. So that's very difficult to do. So, I think the environment and just the COVID thing has probably hamstrung him a little bit more because he needs quality practices every day because of the position he plays.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're getting from Mason? It seems like his role is starting to increase a little bit more as the games go by.
Yeah, well, I think you're getting a threat. I think first and foremost a threat that we just really haven't had, a guy who can really make shots and can really get it going, and you feel like when he shoots it, it's going in. But like anything else, the reason he can be a threat is because he plays defense. If he didn't play defense, then he wouldn't be on the floor. I told him that the other day. I'm like, you played 19 minutes the last 2 games, and it's not because you're burning the nets. It's because you play defense in the hopes that you'll be burning the nets. And he's a guy that provides a threat, and we haven't had that this year. Javen Cumberland, if you go back and look at it, was a tremendous, tremendous asset for this basketball team because it allowed spacing for Trey, it allowed spacing for Jaron, it allowed spacing for Chris and Keith. And we haven't had that spacing. And Keith's probably been the least beneficiary of all of that because he's been asked to take tough shots at the end of the shot clock because teams have been able to put up a man and a half on him. So I think Mason can provide what Javen provided us last year in a threat. And anytime you can have a threat on the court, it opens up your spacing.
No, you try not to look ahead too much, but you're going to have this scheduled bye week after Sunday. Have you gotten any indication of rescheduled games or what the conference is going to try and do with that?
I have not. I think if you really study it and look at it, you can't play. You're not going to play teams 3 times. So if it's somebody that you want to reschedule and you look at their schedule, someone's going to have to break. But the conference will let us know, and wherever they tell me to go, we'll go.
A little bit of a struggle against Tulane. How do you wipe that from your brain and get back on track again?
Oh, yeah, well, you're going to have those type of games, growing up, watching the greats. They didn't play good every game, but they tried. So my mindset is just get better every day and continue to get better. So regardless of if I have a good game or not, or a bad game, I'm still continue to push and work.
Memphis is long, athletic. They got shooters and depth. What's the key to victory against them at their place?
Well, Coach, Coach put in a good game plan for them, and it's our job to execute it right. And it's just our toughness gotta come out even more, against the toughest teams. A team like Memphis, they're good, they're long, like you said, they can shoot, they got guys. So it's our job to come out as a unit together and just bring it, give it all we got.
You're a guy who they moved around a little bit, different positions, maybe more than anyone on the roster. How difficult is that, whether it's in the middle of the game to kind of switch from playing one position to another, or the process throughout the practice week, learning different spots on the floor?
Well, for me, it's not too hard. I'm a versatile guy, so whatever coach, tell me what to do, I'm gonna do it. Regardless of what position I'm in, that's just who I am. I'm an all-around player, so it doesn't really matter to me. I'm gonna just get the job done.
Are there different things you have to focus on if you're playing quote-unquote 4
Yeah.
or playing a 3 or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a lot of different roles you play. At the 3 spot, the 4 spot, the 2 spot. It's just all a matter of, do you want it? Like, do you want to play those positions? Do you want to get better at these positions? You know what I'm saying? Because I can play the 3 and the 4, the 2, the 1, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a mindset thing.
How difficult has this past month been staying sharp with no practice and, such limited time to be on the floor with everybody and trying to, then jump right back in and be playing against teams that haven't missed a beat?
Yeah. I'll say it was tough, but not really at the same time, because, all of our mindsets is just, I feel like we just built different. The Bearcats is built different, especially having a coach like Coach B. It's hard to not, you know what I'm saying? So having him as our leader, and us as being a unit, it's kind of tough not to, think bad, So I feel like our toughness is what brought us together, and you see what the outcome is.
Jeremiah,
We asked Coach this too. Go ahead, JT.
Okay. Was it a relief to finally get back on the court after that 25 days of not being able to play?
Yes, for sure. We were hungry. Not 25 days, a lot of days without basketball at a college level. So, yeah, we were just hungry. Like I said, Coach B got us ready, and that's what we're doing.
We asked Coach about this too, but when you have a couple of days where, everything, you get good news, you're able to practice, do you feel less anxious? Does it feel like a weight's been taken off, or do you still kind of have that thought in the back of your head, like, are we going to be able to practice today, all that kind of stuff?
Not really. It's just a matter of fact that, like, we're all hoopers, so, and this is the time we're in, it's a pandemic or whatever it is, COVID season or whatever, you kind of expect, something to pop up, or, well, both, something to pop up and something not to pop up, or hope something not to pop up. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, so you got to fight through adversity, attack it each and every day, and just have the right mindset.